Now, right now, Bush is in. The only change we can expect is maybe the bastard will get impeached. I hope Cheney gets impeached.
Yeah! Impeach Cheney first.
But if there don't seem to be a lot of people here today, wait till we get a president and Congress that will make those changes. And I guarantee you that on July 4th, 2009, we will have 10,000 people in this park again.
Yeah.
But this is my second speech, so I'm not going to give the first speech all over again, right?
What'd you say?
So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is called recreational marijuana use. And why I think that's a misnomer. That is, it's a formulation of the question is intended to make us lose the argument. Recreational marijuana. It doesn't sound very serious. In fact, it sounds like people are just doing it to have a good time. And you can say, well, what's wrong with that? I just want to point out that if marijuana is safer, no, you can't. You got to do it first. If marijuana is really safer than aspirin, if marijuana is really way safer than alcohol and tobacco, if marijuana is safer than coffee, if marijuana is safer than all the other illegal drugs, though there is a recent report from Lancet that said that LSD is safer than marijuana. Well then, if it's safer than all these things, it ain't recreational marijuana we're talking about. Think about it. If marijuana is good for people who are really sick, people who are dying, people who have on cancer chemo, people with AIDS, and it's so non-toxic, and so, good for the immune system, and so good against inflammation, that it's good for people who are sick, think how much better it will be for the public health of all the people who ain't sick. So I think that recreational marijuana doesn't do our side justice. I think we should talk public health marijuana. Marijuana to end tens of thousands of alcohol-related accidents, tens of thousands of cases of alcohol-related domestic violence, more than 400,000 cases a year of lung cancer due to the use of tobacco. What I want to see is a society where instead of mostly alcohol and tobacco and a little bit of marijuana, we have mostly marijuana. Maybe a little bit of alcohol and tobacco. And yeah, I'd rather see more people doing LSD than doing alcohol and tobacco because it won't kill you. I get in big trouble with normals. They say, why are you bringing into question of psychedelic drugs? Why they terrified people back in the early 70s and the late 60s with psychedelic drugs? Why can't you just compare it to a glass of wine? Why do you have to mention the fact that marijuana is actually chemically, in terms of the effect of the brain, effect on the central nervous system, the body, it is a psychedelic drug. It is not, like alcohol, a substance dependent on stripping the myelin sheaths off your nerve cells, so that when you get a good big drunk, you're killing brain cells, and that's where the high comes from the endogenous opiates, the endorphins. Your body says, wow, I got a terrible, terrible potential hangover coming. I can just feel it. Better produce some endorphins. And that's where the alcohol high comes from. Same pathways as heroin. So, number one, never, ever use the term recreational. With me now. Public health marijuana. Public health marijuana. A little louder. Public health marijuana. Right. Doesn't that sound better already?
I feel better already.
Now, he mentioned Ibogaine before. And people wonder why. Why did these people who were the marijuana advocates, along around 1980, when Ronald Reagan got in, and it seemed like we need all our energy just to keep up the pot fight, what did they go start developing this Ibogaine stuff for? I don't understand it. I heard it. It sounds weird. Ibogaine. It sounds like, well, something that comes from Africa. Something that comes from a plant. Something, actually, that was wrongly classified as a psychedelic drug. Now, a couple years ago, I was here, down here, on the mall, after the march, and a kid came up to me, and he said, I'm on methadone, and I heard that you have a way of getting people off methadone relatively painlessly. And I said, yes, that's true. And you know something? Before we even could complete our conversation, these Fairfax County police that they bring in from across the river to harass people down at the concert, to run the checkpoint, they saw that we were leaning over and talking quietly, kind of keeping it down low, and they said, looks like a drug deal is going on. And they came up and they said, was that man talking to you about drugs? Is there a drug deal going on? Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, except the thing about Ibogaine is it's extremely difficult to crack down on, because you only have to take it once. And it's legal everywhere except in the United States. All you got to do is go to Canada or Mexico and take it. And yeah, you know, you might have to go back and take it again someday, but basically it makes it so that you can stop doing the one drug that they give people. They say, oh, you're all fucked up on drugs. Well, we'll give you our drug, methadone. You think about that. Back when the legalization movement really got started, there was a guy named Kurt Schmoke, who was the mayor of Baltimore. Remember Kurt Schmoke? And Kurt Schmoke came up and said, well, this whole thing with the drug prohibition isn't working. Maybe we should look at some different alternatives. And they had a couple big town meetings on ABC News with Ted Koppel. And they began to actually not just look at, you know, legalize pot, but what do we do about the other drugs? And that's when the Ibogaine really got to be useful. Because I used to go on Mort Downey, see, and they'd have all these parents of all these kids started on marijuana, but somewhere along the line they took a wrong turn into heroin or cocaine. So what would happen is we'd get up there and start talking about stuff like medical marijuana or Ibogaine, and we'd get these people out there saying, oh man, we can't change the law because I'm an addict and I will instantly backslide if there's drugs around. Only way you can protect me is to make it illegal for everybody.